Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another live this morning. I know you're having a good day. Okay, let's say hello to a few folks as per usual. Wendy, you are number one this morning. Good morning. And Wendy is from Markham. Michael, Norland, Alicia Ann. How are you? Rosalinda, Niagara Falls. Nativity. How are you? Linda. Debbie, good morning. Rosa. Fran. Nice to have you on. Nick from our staff this morning. Carrie, Nebraska. Robin, how are you? Chandra. And Kevin. Rainy Oshawa. Well, it's rainy in Sudbury. Chantal, bonjour d'Ottawa. I voted for your son, by the way. James. Troy, how are you? Jocelyn. And you get Samora. Ronaldo, Washington State. You guys are great. Thanks for coming on. Lori Lee, how are you? Natalie Oshawa, Luella, Sunny, West Tennessee. Well, we sure would like to be in West Tennessee today. Judy, Jeanette, Doris, and Shannon, Giselle, how are you? Regina, and Lisa Marie, Claire, Georgie, Halifax. And Lori Lee, yes, Ventura, California. Bright and early. Olive, good morning. Fran from Orangeville, and it's raining there too, eh? Adele, Nellie, Tammy, Wanda, Virginia, Rose, Peterborough. You guys are great. Thanks again for coming on. You're down. I was waiting for you. Olive, Timmons, Glenda, Mary, PEI, and we appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for coming on. Okay, guess what we're going to do this morning? Again, a new study comes out that I got to bring you a little bit of teaching. It's worse than we thought. We're going to talk this morning about seed oils, polyunsaturated seed oils. Okay? Now, we have talked about this many a time because when I say the word crappy carbohydrate, I mean seed oils, okay? And when you talk about processed food, the vast majority are made with seed oils. So let's go over that a little bit, tell you why it's so dangerous. A new study out showing that seed oils disrupt your microbiome. Well, they do a lot more than that, but even that is not good. So your microbiome, guys, as you well know, it's so important, that balance between good and bad bacteria that I talk about all the time. You got bacteria all over your body, from your head to your toes, on your skin, in your gut, in your lungs, in your sinuses, everywhere. And that's all right. That is one of the reasons I constantly remind you, quit over cleaning. Don't do it in your home. Don't do it on your skin. Don't do it. Don't over clean. And certainly don't use any synthetics to clean. I don't recommend that. Because you're wiping out, especially when you put that stuff on your skin. As you know, I couldn't stand those hand sanitizers. Couldn't stand that stuff. And I was telling anybody that would listen, I said, don't worry so much about a virus. Worry about what's going to happen to our population because we've used so much of that chemical sanitizers, sprays. Oh, you go to a restaurant and they overdo it. They don't know any better. But it's not good. Okay, now, that was a little sidebar because we're coming back to what I wanted to talk about. And that is the microbiome gets disrupted by these seed oils. That is the headline. But let me do a little bit of teaching so that you understand your enemy. Okay? Now, if I was to give you a test, you know, guys, what I think about sugar. So toxic. And the proof in the pudding is how your body will do everything to regulate sugar. Everything in your body fights high or low blood sugar. Okay? And you guys know that. But what we often miss, I think, at least the world out there misses it. And they're getting, a lot of the world is starting to get the memo on sugar. Although, certainly not to my satisfaction, but what they don't get yet is the danger of seed oils, polyunsaturated fatty acids. Terrible stuff. Okay, so let's know your enemy. Okay, ready? Let's know your enemy. Now, look what I brought out this morning. And again, for those people on the podcast, I am showing you what we use in this house quite a bit because my wife's Italian. I married an Italian stallion. Right? And so we use a lot of olive oil. Okay? Now, olive oil is a fruit oil. So is coconut oil. So is avocado oil. Okay? Now, the best oil, in my opinion, is butter. It's the best. But again, we use olive oil a lot. If you tasted my wife's spaghetti sauce, my daughters, I got 3 daughters, they tell their mother, I hear them all the time, you never really give us the full recipe of that spaghetti sauce, do you? You're always, you tell us, but there's something missing. I don't know if that's true or not. But, and by the way, for those who are going to ask me, I'm going to answer it before you ask me, Dr. Martin, you're talking about pasta. No, I'm not. I'm talking about spaghetti sauce. I live on meat and my wife's sauce, which you would die for. Okay? You literally would die for. It's that good. It is so full of olive oil. But it's to die for. Okay? Now, I brought out that bottle of olive oil to show you what good oils are. Good oils are natural. So look for cold pressed, not heated, cold pressed olive oil. If you're going to get olive oil. Okay? If you can, get grass-fed butter. Nothing better for you. And in butter, you have saturated fat. Now, what is saturated fat? Saturated fat is a very happy... Can I say this? Saturated fat is happy fat. It's satisfied fat. What do I mean by that? Well, it doesn't matter what you do to it. It doesn't denature. So when you heat up butter, it will become a liquid, right? Oh, butter on your steak. Oh. I'm no good in the kitchen, guys, okay? Although I've often said that I'm going to start a cooking show. My wife laughs, okay? When Rosie goes away, my grandchildren are worried about me. Grandpa, what are you going to eat? Okay? But oh, do I make a mean steak. I make a mean steak. Lots of fat and lots of butter. But you see, a saturated fat is a happy fat. It's a happy fat. It's a satisfied fat. So when you see fat, butter, okay? When you see, you don't really see the fat in cheese until you melt it, but the fat in there is saturated. Now, medicine and most of the world looks at saturated fat as a bad fat. Because all they're thinking of is cholesterol. It will elevate your cholesterol. It looks like cholesterol, so it must be cholesterol. And it's going to clog your arteries. They see a hose, and they see saturated fat blocking the water flow through a hose. I mean, that's the mentality of medicine. I hate to be negative, but that's been around now for 60 years, and the world can't get over it. And if you talk to cardiologists, 99% of them, and doctors and whatever, cholesterol. I'm calling you, hello, hey, I just got your blood test back and your cholesterol is high. And you better get in here now because I'm going to give you a statin drug. And a lot of people ask me, Doc, what do I tell them? Good luck trying to change their mind. It's physiology 101. And the reason that these seed oils take off, why did they become so popular? Because it was polyunsaturated. And if you think saturated fat is a bad guy, that's why doctors will tell you not to eat too much eggs, don't eat too much cheese, have lean, if you're going to eat meat, better eat chicken or lean meat. You can hardly go to the grocery store and you're looking for a hamburger and it ain't lean. I talked to the butchers. Hey, Where's the fat? Remember that commercial? Where's the meat? Well, I asked, where's the fat? And I'll give you a little tip, guys. Give you a little tip. When you go to the grocery store and you look for steak, or if you got a butcher, butchers know better. Get the cuts that got the most fat on it. They're usually the, nothing's cheap at the grocery store anymore. But it is cheaper the more fat it has on it. On steak. And actually, it's better for you. It has more fat-soluble vitamins right in the steak. Now, back to oil. Okay, we're back to seed oil. So know your enemy. Know your enemy. Who's your enemy? Canola. Okay? You see it in the grocery stores. Canola oil. Okay? Grapeseed oil. Corn oil. Cottonseed. Safflower. Sunflower. Rice bran. Soy oil. Know your enemy, guys. Those are all polyunsaturated oils. Okay? So, when you have saturated fat, you have a satisfied fat. It's not looking for anything. It's very happy. It will not denature. Okay? And on the opposite end of the scale are your vegetable, what they call vegetable. I don't know how they ever got to put the name vegetable on their labels. They're not vegetables. They're seed oils. Cottonseed oils. Okay? The problem with them, the problem with those oils, Canada's gift to the world. We want to make you sick and fat. Like canola oil. I'm sorry. That is for your car, not for you. Bring your car. If you want, buy canola oil. And bring it the next time you get your oil changed and said, you want to put this in here? It's fully synthetic. Okay? Put that in there instead of, what you're going to give me there. Because you want to give me a semi-synthetic or a fully synthetic. I'm bringing you a fully synthetic oil. Put it in my car. Okay? It's how it's made, guys. There's seeds. There's seed oils. And then they're heated. And then they add chemical like hexane. And then they reheat them. And remember what I said. Saturated fat is satisfied. It's a happy fat. Polyunsaturated fat is a very unhappy puppy. It destabilizes very quickly. Soon as you heat it, when you see it in the bottle, okay, it's always usually in a light bottle, okay, canola, safflower, sunflower, blah, blah, blah. The worst, wow. One of the worst is soy oil. It's cheap. It's very unsatisfied. So what does it do? What does that mean? It becomes unstable. It oxidizes very quickly. It creates free radicals. What are free radicals? They're kamikaze pilots out to destroy your cells in your body. Guys, these oils are terrible news. Okay, so 4 things they do because they're unhappy. 4 things they do in your body. Well, we already talked about one. Well, we talked about 2. One of them is, now we know, they change your microbiome. It's like taking an antibiotic. And guys, when you go to the restaurant, okay, I want you to go to restaurants. Let's get the economy going again, okay? And it's nice to go to a restaurant. I get it. But usually they cook their food in bad oil because it's inexpensive. And they reheat that stuff. It even makes it worse. So when you go to McDonald's or you go even, to fast foods, but even major, if they're cooking their French fries in the bad oil, you're not only getting a bad carb, you're getting this is what I call, I don't know if we made this up because I've been using it for so long, crappy carbs. Crappy. Like a potato is a carb, mostly. Almost all carb. At the end of the day, well, you certainly don't want to do it on the reset if you have a potato once in a while. But the second you cook it in bad oil, you're really getting a double whammo of very high carbohydrate and bad oil. That's a bad mixture. It changes your microbiome, guys. It gives you leaky gut, and people live on it. People live on these oils. Baked goods. Oh, Dr. Martin, I had a carrot muffin. That's got to be good, isn't it? Carrot. Well, here's what they do with them. Unless Mummy makes them. What do they use? They use processed, polyunsaturated, fatty acid oil in the muffin, in the bagel, in the biscuit. It keeps it together. Okay? And then they add 8 teaspoons of sugar to it. Ooh. Now you're getting, ooh. It's craziness. Craziness. Anyway, so 1, it affects your microbiome. That's bad news. Leaky gut. That's why, when they say almost every disease starts in the gut? Hippocrates said it. I say it. Any autoimmune. Why do you think we see so much autoimmune today? Why? Because the world went crazy with polyunsaturated, in quotation marks, vegetable oils. It creates leaky gut. It destroys the microbiome. It changes it. It's not good. And I just want to give you a little tip that I found out years ago. And it was all by my experience in the clinic. When people got off those oils, especially sugar and those bad oils, not eating crappy carbohydrates, you know what happened to their skin? Unbelievable. Better. They could get in the sun more. And they could take in vitamin D better. I found that by experience. I tried to tell a few of my doctor friends that. What? You know, because to them, the sun was the boogeyman. And you didn't want to get in the sun. And you wanted to put the chemical sunscreens on even before you got in the sun, according to medicine. Ooh, guys, I tell you, there's nothing that drives me crazier. So you're really getting chemicals from food, and then you put chemicals on your skin. No wonder we have so much skin cancer. It's not the sun. It's not the sun. It's the sunscreen and the unstable vegetable oils that we use, that is found in almost every kitchen in North America, every restaurant in North America, and the big food industry, because it's so inexpensive. And they have bought the lie and spread the lie that when it's unsaturated fat, polyunsaturated fat, well, that's good for you. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's good for your car. Next time I'm going in for an oil change, I'm going to say, well, put canola oil in, okay? Put 5 liters of canola oil. I just got my oil changed on my motorcycle, okay? And I read it. I read I don't know anything about anything, okay? When it comes to machines. But I read the invoice, and it said 5 liters, okay, of fully synthetic oil in my motorcycle. Okay, did they put canola? I don't know. I didn't ask them. Guys, it's not for your body. It messes up your microbiome. Numero uno. Number 2, we already talked about. It oxidizes. And the reason it oxidizes quickly, rapidly, even before you open the bottle, it's oxidized. Because it's so unstable. It's looking for molecules, free radicals. And it creates oxidation quickly and free radicals quickly. That's number 2. Guys, you want to age? Well, then use polyunsaturated fatty acids made in a laboratory. It's not in nature. Well, Doc, canola oil. Yeah, I know. They grow canola, right? Which is rapeseed. I know what they do, but it's what they do to it afterwards. They heat it. And then they add hexane. They add a huge chemical. Then they do it again. And you get that clear, because they got to use, you know why they use the hexane, by the way? Take the smell out of it. And make it clear. Ooh. You think that's made for you? That's not made for you. But it's almost impossible to get away from it. It's in the middle, from cookies to crackers to salad dressings to you name it. It's one of the problems I have with keto foods too. Oh, this is good, keto. Yeah, what kind of oil are they using? Because everybody's got in their head, you want polyunsaturated. Because saturated fat is a boogeyman. It's not, shouldn't be. Saturated fat is what you get in the animal kingdom. And even like coconut oil. Why do you think the world hated coconut oil? Well, look at those fat coconut oil. Right? It's fat. It'll clog your arteries up. It's the opposite. It'll lubricate your arteries. Okay? So how many did I get to? Disrupts your microbiome, gives you an enormous amount of free radicals and oxidation and inflammation. Okay? So when it oxidizes and creates free radicals, you get a double-edged sword. You get aging of the body, rapid. Aging of the cells, rapid. Destructive to your cells, rapid. And that creates inflammation. Now, inflammation's not Houdini. It don't come out of nowhere. And when you create a silent inflammation in your body, nothing good's going to come out of that. Now, like I said, if you have a fever because you got a bug, you want inflammation. That's part of your body's immune system. Right? You get an infection. You want inflammation. Because that's your body's ambulance system coming. But we're not talking about that kind of inflammation. We're talking about a chronic, low-grade inflammation, which destroys your blood vessels, destroys cells. And the other way it happens too, by the way. What happens is there's a real major disruption between omega-6 seed oils, okay, and omega-3, okay? And look, if let's say you have you like peanut butter? I do. Peanut butter gives you omega-6. It's an omega-6, okay? And a lot of seeds and nuts, they give you omega-6. They're not bad. Doesn't mean they're bad for you, right? Now, I'll just give you a little tip. When chipmunks or squirrels want to get fat, you know what they eat? When they get ready for winter, you know what they eat? Nuts and seeds. But I'm talking about omega-6. So those things have mostly omega-6, right? Flaxseed. You know how much I love flaxseed, right? It's got some omega-3 in it. Now, it's got the what they call ALA. It doesn't have the DHA or the EPA. We've taught that before, but I'll teach it again, I'm sure. But what's happening in our society today? And this has been going on for 30, 40 years. And I preached against this for a long, long, long time. If your omega-6, okay, is here, and your omega-3 is here, okay, so on the podcast, I'm talking about the very close in ratios. Well, you're all right. The problem is, today, some are estimating that the ratio between omega-6 and omega-3 in your body is 30 to 1. It's from 18 to 1 to 30 to 1. You know what that does? Again, that creates enormous amount of inflammation in the body, guys. So, when you cook with the wrong oil, and all the fast food chains do, all of them. You know, at one time, McDonald's used to use lard to make their French fries. And then the oil police came out. You can't use that lard. Lard's going to give people, your customers, heart attacks because it's full of cholesterol. What are you doing? You got to switch to our cheap oil. It's polyunsaturated. And they lied and people died. Hey guys, I've been around a long time. I watched them do it. The oil police. And even today, people are using car oil for their body. And it disrupts the microbiome. It creates an enormous amount of free radicals. It creates an enormous amount of inflammation because of that ratio that is so... Poor kids today, oh, kids today. They get all those packaged goods and, you know, mommy's not making even the cookies anymore. Or if she does, she's using the wrong oil. Crisco. Ooh. Procter & Gamble started it all, by the way. Guys, I rail against it. I rail against it because it's not good for you. And you know what? You want good oil in your body. You want to elevate your omega-3s. Get that omega-3. That's why I love steak. I love fish in a capsule. I don't like fish. I do, but I don't. You know what I mean? I love fish. I tell everybody. Grandpa, I tell my grandchildren, Grandpa loves fish in a capsule. Somebody asked me yesterday if they could have seafood on the reset. I said, of course you can. It's good for you. Eat lots of it. Just don't make me do it. Okay. You guys know too much about me, don't you? I'm an open book. I tell you all my habits. Okay, guys. What is my motto? Don't ditch dairy, switch it. Don't ditch oil, switch it. And quit listening to the oil police. They're liars. Liars, liars, pants on fires. And they're killing us. Put it in your car. Okay, or your lawnmower. Maybe try that. Okay, guys. Tomorrow's question and answer Friday. Are you looking forward to it? I am. I always enjoy that. Okay? And so send in your questions. It's not too late. Okay? And don't ask me how to do that. I don't know. I have staff for that. Jeanette, Nicole, and Brandy. They know what to do. I don't. Okay? I don't even ask myself questions. Okay, guys. We love you. We'll talk to you soon.